Let's make Italian-style sausage with chickpea flour, similar to Burmese tofu, and then used in a multitude of dishes, whether it's a pizza topping, in lasagna, or just on top of a dish with red sauce.
Join me, Steve Bryce, as I guide you through what I learned, tips, techniques, tricks, as well as mistakes over the years as I explored plant-based eating in my transition from being a meat eater, working in the meat industry, to becoming a vegan chef and running 2 restaurants.
First, we'll add the chickpea flour to a large pan, and then water. And then with a whisk, begin to try to incorporate the chickpea flour in. Because it's ground really fine, it doesn't exactly like to dissolve well in water, but we'll just use time to dissolve it. So first we'll add our salt, then a little garlic powder, some parsley, smoked paprika, a little black pepper. If it seems like the ingredient list is long for this recipe, and it is, Italian-style sausage made with meat is a really long ingredient list. It has a lot of different seasonings and spices. Then we'll take some fennel seeds and some dried rosemary and put it in a spice blender. Not to grind it into a powder, but just to break up the seeds and leaves a little bit. Then we'll add some oregano and a little molasses just to give it that characteristic metallic flavor. A little miso, light miso. And I chose to use MSG. You don't have to. A little soy sauce. And a little olive oil. And again, I chose to use a little olive oil. You don't have to use it in there. It's not required. Then we'll begin to mix that together. And again, as you can see, not all the chickpea flour is dissolved, but it will over time. We'll let it set, whisk it a little bit, let it set, whisk it a little bit, let it set. And then we'll put that mixture on some heat, medium-low probably, and begin the process of whisking. And the whole process of making this over the heat is probably about 10 to 15 minutes. And you want to just slowly bring it to thickening. Slowly bring it up to temperature. And it'll get thicker and harder to stir. And it'll get thicker. Keep stirring it. And eventually it'll become sticky. And once it reaches that sticky stage, we know we're pretty close to done. As you can see, it begins to almost lift off the pan as we drag the whisk around. It's pretty sticky. And then we'll take and drop that into just a water bath to start the cooling. And I just drop random sized pieces just to mimic the texture that we're used to with Italian sausage. And then add a few ice cubes to that to let it cool. And once it's cooled, we can just strain that and then put the Italian sausage back in the dish and put it in the refrigerator. And then you're ready for your dish. It's not required to cook it, but I like to cook it just to give it a little bit of texture on the outside as well as to add some browning to it. And then you can use it in any dishes that you would normally use an Italian-style sausage in. I hope you enjoy.
So as you enjoy the last bit of your meal, don't forget to move in nature or practice flowing in on your mat whenever you want to find flow and ease in your life.